like we're pretty far out from our objective. Plus, I'd say the defensive network we saw on the way down takes out the idea of an airborne approach.
We'll go by ground then. Fortunately, the rubble from the burned-out building should provide us enough cover to cross the city unnoticed.
Agreed. We better get moving. We don't have much time.
Not much time. Does this have something to do with the URTVs? Those designer children?
Yes, that's right. We need to protect them from the coming crisis, if and when it occurs.
You do realize that's a different story from what I heard in my official briefing.
No doubt. As the Federation Government Special Forces, the URTVs were sent in ahead of the invasion. I'm sure you understand what they represent in a conflict against the UTIC organization.
Right. I understand that they're bioweapons sent in to sever the link between the UTIC's mobile weapons fleet and their source of power, the Zohar.
The higher-ups have complete confidence in the URTVs. They are the military's trump card. Unfortunately, the brass are also blind to the potential dangers of the URTVs.
Fascinating. I hadn't realized the situation was so desperate. Exactly are we expecting to happen here?
Well, the problem is that the URTVs aren't merely machines. They're real people, with their consciousness intact. The system that currently controls the Zohar was actually designed to be used for the UMN transport system. However...
Yes.
Well, they experimented with the transport of living beings numerous times, but every attempt ended in failure.
According to the records, 99.76% of them were killed instantly.
However, it seems that on very rare occasions, there were survivors. They didn't exist as people anymore, though. They were just things. never able to recover their consciousness, the very element that made them human.
Mental breakdown.
Lieutenant General Helmer concluded that if contact with the system led to the destruction of the human mind, then even the URTVs created as the system's antithesis might be affected. Therefore, if the URTVs were to suffer a mental breakdown, then likely the Zohar, a source of infinite energy, would spiral out of control. That would be devastating.
And yet, the General's staff decision wasn't overturned. I suppose that's where we come in.